Hello, dear viewers. My name is Farid Nouri, and I'm a migration consultant in Germany. Today, I would like to explain about the interview for asylum in Germany and what should be considered before, during, and after this interview. In fact, the personal interview is the most important part of the asylum procedure for an asylum seeker in this country. In this interview, the asylum seeker gets the opportunity and is legally bound to share all the reasons based on which he must have left his country of origin, and in case he returns to his country of origin, which threat he will face there. Based on this interview, the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees of Germany then decides about the asylum application of the asylum seeker. After the asylum seeker applies for asylum in one of the branch offices of the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees of Germany, this office usually sends him an appointment for the interview via a letter. In this interview, he will be then asked about the reasons for applying for asylum in Germany. Although this interview should be planned for the asylum seeker some days after he submits his asylum application, but it's mostly not the case. Depending on the working capacity of the employees of this office, it may take weeks or months until the asylum seeker gets an appointment for this interview. In addition to the reasons which the asylum seeker tells to the employees of this office, how he presents these reasons to them so that he can convince them about these reasons also plays a crucial role. This means that if he has got good reasons for getting a type of protection from this office and he presents these reasons in a good way that he convinces the employees of this office about them, he can get a type of protection from this office based on his case. However, if he cannot convince them and they do not believe him or they have some doubts about the reasons he has explained to them, he may get a rejection for his asylum application from this office. The reasons an asylum seeker tells them and the documents he provides to them is especially not believable for them when he cannot provide more details or clarifications about some parts of his interview, or he contradicts his own words, or he provides false or fake documents to them. In fact, the interview for asylum has mainly two parts. First, the asylum seeker is asked 25 general questions about his person and the situation of his life in his country of origin, such as about his name, place of residence, last address, family members, travel documents, school, vocational training, and working situation in his country of origin, and etc. And they also ask him about his travel route to Germany. In addition, you will be asked whether he has been deported from Germany or from another European country before or not, and whether he has got from one of these countries a refusal of entry before or not, and so on. And second, in this part, the asylum seeker should tell them about the reasons based on which he has fled his country of origin and explain to them about the fact that to which threats he will be faced with in case he returns to his country of origin. Now I would like to explain for you which points should be considered before the interview for asylum in Germany. After you submit the application for asylum in one of the branch offices of the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees of Germany, it makes sense to pre-check the following points and to inform the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees of Germany about them before your interview in this office. First, if you, as an asylum seeker, need special protection, you should inform this office about it before the interview. For example, if you're an unaccompanied minor child in Germany, or if you have a disability or a serious physical or mental problem, or if you're pregnant, or if you're a victim of physical, mental, or sexual torture, and so on. Because in such cases, this office arranges its special qualified employees for your interview. Second, if you informed this office about your native language in which you will also be interviewed later, if you haven't done it yet, you should do it. Third, do you want your lawyer or another person to be also present in your interview with you? Actually, you can take your lawyer, an employee of the UNHCR, an employee of an asylum procedure counseling office, or another person with you to your interview. Although you are not legally bound to inform the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees of Germany about this person, but it's recommendable to inform them so that they do not face any problems entering this office on the day of your interview in this office. Similarly, if you need something else for your interview which should be considered by this office, you can inform this office about it. Now I would like to explain for you the points which should be considered during the interview. If they have already asked you the 25 personal questions during the submission of your asylum application, during this interview they will only ask you about these questions if some of your answers about these questions have not been clear enough for them. And if you have provided some false information about yourself to them, or you have forgotten to tell them some facts about yourself or your case, you can correct them or tell them what you have forgotten to tell them before. For example, if they have not written your name, your date of birth, or your place of birth correctly, you can ask them to correct it. If they have already asked you about your travel route to Germany in the previous stages, it is also possible that they ask you about it in this interview as well. If you have given some false information about yourself, your case, or your travel route to Germany, you can give them the correct information during this interview, and you should also tell them the reasons why you have given the false information to this office or other offices in the previous stages. While answering the 25 personal questions and the questions about your travel route to Germany, you should try not to contradict your own words, because this way you may lose your trust and they may no longer trust your other words, and it may cause your asylum case to be rejected by them. As I mentioned for you before, in the second part of your interview, after the 25 personal questions, they will ask you about the reasons of fleeing your country of origin and about the fact that if you return to your country of origin, with which threats you will be faced there. In this part, the following points should be considered. First, the asylum seekers should tell about themselves, that what has happened to them and why they should have left their country of origin and why they cannot return to their country of origin. Second, the interview from the husband and wife and the other members of the family are taken separately, and the information which has been gotten from them are compared with each other. Third, the descriptions should be as detailed as possible so that this office, even without supporting evidence, be able to make a good impression of the situation and can believe you. Fourth, if you have some documents and proofs which support or prove your reasons for fleeing your country of origin, they should be submitted directly to them during this interview. You should take a copy of the documents which you submit to them and take a receipt for these submitted documents from them. Fifth, the time for your interview is not limited. Therefore, you should use the opportunity and explain all the necessary information about yourself and about your asylum case to them. Sixth, if your interview takes a lot of time and you need break for drinking or eating, you can ask them about it. And seventh, if the translator does not translate for you correctly, or if you do not understand his accent, tell the employee of this office about it. When you explain about the reasons for fleeing your country of origin, try to be as clear and precise to them as possible so that they can have a clear picture about the threats you're faced with in your country of origin. Especially when you do not have supporting documents or proofs based on which you can prove what you're saying to them, you should convince them with your words. For example, it's not enough to only generally tell them about the security situation in your country of origin. You should tell them about the reasons for fleeing your country of origin, which means what has happened to you in your country of origin, or in case you return to your country of origin, what are you afraid of, and why you are afraid of it. The more detailed and precise you explain your problems for them, the more believable your explanations are for them. The interviewers and the decision makers of the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees of Germany are mostly informed about the situation in the countries. And if you give them false information about your country of origin or about your travel route to Germany, they can compare this information with the field reports which they receive from different countries of the world. They also compare the information they have got from you about your travel route to Germany and your fingerprint they have got from you in Eurodac, which is a European database, and check which route you have taken to reach Germany and whether you have already applied for asylum in another country member to the Dublin regulation before or not. If you, for example, do not remember some dates correctly during your interview, you can tell them, for example, that it happened just before I fled my country of origin, or just before Christmas, and so on. Or, for example, there are some secrets of wife and husband which they have not told to each other yet, for example, about the physical or sexual torture and etc. If they are being asked about it during this interview, they can tell them that they cannot talk about it. If you're not feeling well in the beginning of the interview or during the interview, you can tell the employee of this office about it. Actually, it is usually being asked in the beginning of the interview from the asylum seekers if they are feeling well or not. So, if you are not feeling well, you can tell them about it even in the beginning of your interview. Now I would like to explain for you which points should be considered after the interview. After the interview, the translator will translate the whole interview for you again. But it is also possible that he translates it for you during your interview in small pieces. All the things you say during your interview will be documented and written in a protocol, and this protocol will be translated for you at the end of your interview. You will also get a copy of this protocol later via post. While the translator translates this protocol for you at the end of your interview, if something is missing or something is wrongly written, you can ask them to correct it. After the decision making of the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees of Germany about your asylum application, this office sends the result of your asylum application via a letter for you. This result can be an asylum protection, a refugee protection, a subsidiary protection, or a national ban on deportation in Germany, or you may get a rejection for your asylum application in this country. It is worth mentioning that I've explained all the types of the protections and rejections you may get from the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees of Germany in different videos and has published them in this YouTube channel for you. I will put the link of some of these videos in the description part of this video for you. Thanks a lot for watching my video. If you would like to get similar important information about the migration laws in Germany, your rights and duties in German society, the living conditions in Germany, and other such important topics, please subscribe and follow our channel. If you have any questions or remarks about today's topic, you can write it under this video and I will be more than happy to answer it for you.